Hi biology students, this is Mrs. Miller, and today we're going to be talking about evolution. We're going to be in section 1, the work of Charles Darwin. So what I really want to do right away is just clear the air and make sure that no one gets offended with this particular unit. I know that people might have other beliefs, that's totally fine. We want you guys to believe whatever it is that you believe. However, we also want to provide you guys with the scientific background of this. We expect you guys to know this for our class. So please just keep an open mind, and if you have any questions or you'd like to discuss this further with us, let us know. We'd be more than happy to do that. All right, so we're going to start with humans sharing the earth, of course, with millions of other organisms in many other habitats. So this variety, as we know, is called biological diversity or biodiversity. That was a term that we talked about quite a bit in ecology. So there's all sorts of different organisms that make their home on planet Earth. But how did this diversity occur on Earth? Well, the theory of evolution is likely the answer. So we're going to break down those terms. Evolution. Evolution simply states change over time. It's not like something happened overnight. It's over a long period of time that we saw these changes. And then theory. This is something that we talked about way at the beginning of the year, but it's something I always come back to when we get to the theory of evolution. Remember when someone goes, I have a theory about this. That is not a theory. A theory is a well-supported, testable explanation of phenomena that have occurred in the natural world. So when we say the theory of evolution, it is not the best guess. It is a series of facts, observations, experiments, laws that all come together to give us the best possible explanation based on that evidence. So again, it is not made up. It is that well-supported, testable explanation of phenomena that has occurred in the natural world. So how was this theory of evolution created? Well, a lot of the experiments and the information that we have started with a man by the name of Charles Darwin, and he took a voyage on his boat called the HMS Beagle. So Charles Darwin came up with the theory of natural selection, so we'll talk about what that is in a moment, which found supporting facts for the theory of evolution. So Charles Darwin did not come up with the theory of evolution, he just came up with some facts that helped to prove that it was correct. So what did Charles Darwin do? Well, he took a trip around the world, and here you can see the path that he chose to take. So he pretty much hit every continent except North America in this case. He did hit the Galapagos Islands over here. But what he did was he made observations and collected evidence to propose a theory of how life changes over time. He spent years collecting all of this data from all sorts of different areas, and he had all of this data collected in notebooks that were very, very well detailed and had lots of evidence in them. As Darwin was going around the world, what he started to realize was that there were many more species of organisms in the world than he had thought. So where he had originally come from had many different species than what he saw as he started to go around the world. He also noted that species were very, very well suited for the environments that they were in. So what that means is they were able to survive in this specific location based on the adaptations they had. And the third thing he noticed was that not all ecosystems had the same organisms or even common features. So when he went to a new ecosystem, there was so many different organisms in there that there had to be a reason why that was happening. As Darwin was making this trip around the world, he was making so many observations of everything that was living, and then he began to realize that these living creatures were only part of the puzzle. Yes, he could see what was in front of him, he could make observations, he could do tests, but what he realized is that there was history that he was missing out on. And he realized that many more clues were hidden in fossils. He wanted to know things like, why did these species disappear? Or why did some species disappear while others survived? He also wanted to know, how were fossils related to these living species? Did the fossil of a bird help to create this organism? Or did this organism that we have on top, being the fossil, was it an ancestor to the bird below? what caused these changes, why did certain things die out, and that became the ideas that he really started to look into. One thing that Darwin really quickly realized was that an organism that was more adapted to its environment would survive better. However, if that organism was put in a new environment, it might not survive. So we go ahead and we look at the lion. The lion is very well suited for the savanna. The reason is it is able to hide very, very well in its surroundings. It's built to be in that warm environment. It has the prey that it needs, and it survives really, really well inside of its pride, or all the organisms that are together, all those lions that make it up. So it would be considered to be a top predator within the savanna. If we now go and we take this top predator, or this organism that is super adapted to its environment, and we switch it to a new, completely different environment, like the ocean, it's probably not going to be successful. Yes, the lion could swim for a little while, but could it survive in there forever? No. It is not meant to be in the water, so organisms are meant to be in very specific environments, very specific biomes, otherwise they're not going to be as successful. As Darwin was going around the world, one place that he ended up spending a huge amount of time was the Galapagos Islands. So the Galapagos Islands are on or near South America. They're part of South America. And the cool thing about the Galapagos Islands is there's about 10 islands there that make it up. So here we can see a little map. We have a larger island and then several small islands around. And they're relatively close together. The unique thing about these islands is even though that they're really close together, they actually have different climates on the islands. So they get different weather patterns, they have different temperatures that exist, and some interesting things is that there are differences among similar animals on each island. So there were two animals that Darwin really spent a lot of time looking at, and that was finches as well as turtles. So here, Darwin took a look and made observations of 8 different turtle species on these different islands. And he noticed that they probably all came from a common ancestor, but they were extremely well adapted to the specific climate that they were exposed to. So as you can see here, their turtle shells are even different shapes and slightly different colors based on the environment that they are specifically meant to be in. The other thing that Darwin decided to look at were finches. So the Galapagos finches is one of Darwin's most famous examples of evolution and natural selection, and he first noticed that these finches all had different beaks. The finches were really, really similar, but the beaks were very, very different. So here's a picture of all the Galapagos finches that he took a look at, and he realized that this beak shape was highly related to food. So what he noticed from there is that the different climates and the available food came into play on each island. All birds had a common ancestor, where at one point they were all part of the same species, and then based on where they were, they became different from one another. So this has resulted from a single species becoming isolated from one another and adapting to the climate that they had. So in the middle here we see ancestral seed-eating ground finch. So there was a finch that lived on the ground and ate seeds. Over time, we can see that there were 3 major branches that came off of there, and then they became specialized. So here we started to live maybe in the tree. Or up here they were mainly eating insects. Or this one ate buds and fruits. Cactus and seed parts, mainly seeds. So the reason why these finches became different is because they slowly became isolated on different parts of islands or different islands completely, and they had different food available to them. So this very large beak that's able to crack large seeds was helpful versus these really much different type of finch over here that has a longer, thinner beak was better at eating the insects inside of a cactus. So those were very important, but again, they're all coming from a common ancestor. As Darwin was making all of these observations, he realized that all animals or all species are constantly competing for food, living space, and other necessities. So they were all struggling to survive, and that's what brought them all together. This must lead to some organisms surviving and passing on their genes while others seem to die out. So here we see two lions that are competing. They probably are competing for females, and the one that is able to win this fight is going to pass on its genes while the other does not. Darwin proposed something called fitness as a result of adaptation. So fitness is described as the ability of an individual to survive and reproduce in its environment. So for example, we might have an organism that has high fitness because it can hide from an animal. So let's say like an owl that can hide in a tree and not be killed, that is high fitness. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a big, strong animal. It could even be the small little animals that are hiding. And an adaptation is an inherited characteristic that increases an organism's chance of survival. So an adaptation is inherited. You can't just adapt to an environment. You either have that adaptation or you don't. And then successful adaptations will survive in a species, and unsuccessful adaptations will cause extinction. As we talk about fitness, we're going to talk about survival of the fittest. So survival of the fittest means with your adaptations, you will survive and better compete for resources, which will allow you to survive. It does not mean that the biggest, strongest animals will survive. Very small animals like mice are really good at surviving because they can hide. So it could be any adaptation that makes you better at this. And again, adaptations are inherited. They are not something that you can just change about you because of your environment. So if we have mice that live in like a gravelly area and they have gray fur, that's a great adaptation so they can hide. If all of a sudden a mutation occurs and a mouse is born with white fur, that is a very negative adaptation because they can be seen by predators, they're probably going to be killed, and they're probably not going to pass on those genes, so we won't have any more of those white mice, which is good because that's a bad adaptation. But that also brings us to natural selection. And natural selection is described as a change in the inherited characteristic of a population. So again, we're going to see that natural selection is taking place, so those inherited characteristics that are beneficial are going to be what gets passed on. So what does this mean for predators and what does this mean for prey? Well, predators who are faster or better at catching their prey are going to survive. Slow ones are not. Small ones are not. And then for prey, the ones that are better camouflaged or protected will survive. So in this case, this owl is able to hide really, really well in this tree, so it's not going to be seen by predators as easily. If all of a sudden there was a white owl that was sitting over here, you would see it. That would not be a good trait. It would not be very fit for that environment. However, if all of a sudden the environment changed and now we were in a snowy environment, you might want to have a different coat color. A different coat color might be advantageous in those areas. So it's all about, are you adapted to your environment? An organism cannot adapt to its environment. Those traits are inherited. You cannot change those. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day.